Hello and welcome to the Boston Herald video podcast. My name is Harold Lapidus. Today I'm going to be giving you a little preview of the book Bob Dylan, Mixing Up the Medicine, which is a product of the Bob Dylan Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and published by Callaway. The publication date is October 24th, which is probably the day you're watching this. And it was edited and written by Mark Davidson, the curator of the Bob Dylan Archive and director of archives and exhibitions of the Bob Dylan and Woody Guthrie centers in Tulsa, and archivist Parker Fischel, who serves as the co-curator of the inaugural exhibitions at the Dylan Center. And I apologize in advance for all the names I'm not going to get pronounced properly. The book is over 600 pages with 30 original essays and over 1,100 images, and it'll look really cool on your bookshelf. And this is the spine right there. I don't post that much these days because there's so many other people doing it that if I'm going to do it, hopefully it's something that's not like everything else and adds to the conversation, adds to the dialogue. So my goal here is to give you a guide through the book, focus on some highlights, and explain what I think is the purpose of the book, why I think it's an essential addition to the Bob Dylan book canon. And thanks to Jessica Janup for supplying this early copy of the book. And before I show you some of the contents, let me try to explain as best I can what this book purports to be, at least what I think it is. The Bob Dylan Center houses the Bob Dylan Archives, which were purchased on behalf of the University of Tulsa. As far as I can tell, both parties are working separately now, but I wanted to paraphrase a story that the University of Tulsa's Sean Latham has told on numerous occasions. Before the university purchased the archives, Mr. Latham's specialty was James Joyce. Since the university now owned the archives, Mr. Latham was given the honor and responsibility to teach a new class about Bob Dylan there. While Sean had his first class prepared, it turns out the students really didn't know much about Bob Dylan at all. So he instructed his students to go home, Google their favorite artists, along with Bob Dylan. And when they returned, they certainly had something to talk about, to paraphrase Bonnie Raitt. So this book, in some ways, can be seen as the world's coolest textbook. Much like the center itself, it's something that can be enjoyed by the novice, the casual fan, and weirdos like me, and probably you, who spend way too much time thinking about Bob Dylan. And there are plenty of iconic photographs sprinkled throughout the book, which are essential in telling the story, but the real treasures are the rare material excavated from the archives. Well, let's take a look at some of the contributors. This isn't everybody, it's just a sampling. Writers, David Brinkley, who's interviewed Dylan a couple times recently, Anne Margaret Daniel, John Doe of X, Terry Gans, who wrote Surviving in the Ruthless World about infidels, Jeff Gold, Richard Howell of the Voidoids, Clinton somebody, Grell Marcus, Allison Moorer, Amanda Petrusic, Lee Ronaldo, Jeff Slate, hi Jeff, Larry Sloman, Greg Tate, Sean Wilent. Photographers is, dozens of names, Howard Alk, Richard Avedon, Joel Bernstein, Danny Clinch, John Cohen, John Byrne Cook, Harry Diltz, Barry Feinstein, David Garr, Herb Green, who lives not that far from where I am. Just so many people. Sharon Johnson, Annie Leibovitz, Elliot Landy, of course, Ken Regan, Ted Russell, Jerry Schatzberg, Roland Sherman, and Gloria Stavers, a blast from the past there. Artists include Milton Glaser and Eric von Schmidt, and filmmakers include Charlie Chaplin. So that's really cool. And now we're going to take a stroll through the book. And as one might expect, the content is heavier on the earlier stuff because there's probably just a lot more of it. The halfway point is blood on the tracks for the book. But every major aspect is covered in detail, except for the film from 1987, Hearts of Fire, which is dismissed on page 18. Some of us like that movie, but anyway, I guess it takes all kinds. So I picked a dozen samples from the book that I thought would be of interest. and will give you a feel for what to expect for the rest of the book. All right, so hopefully you can see them enough to get it to yeah, you won't be able to read a lot of this, but just to give an idea. So on one side is the an advanced promo of the John Birch version of Free Willin', and then there's an autographed copy of the album there. The section on Johnny Cash. There is a letter that Johnny wrote to Bob. I'm giving them on a first name basis in March 1964. And on the next page is something from 1999, another letter that Johnny Cash wrote. So this is the handwritten lyrics from Blonde on Blonde for One of Us Must Know Sooner or Later and Visions of Johanna. So, I mean, if you've been to Tulsa, some of this stuff might look somewhat familiar, but if you haven't been there, I imagine your mind's kind of being blown a little bit right now. So this is for Just Like a Woman. It's Bob Dylan's wallet and the Otis Redding's business card. Bob offered Just Like a Woman for Otis Redding to record. Let's see. Next one is from the Basement Tapes. Here's the lyrics, typewritten lyrics with some corrections for the song Santa Fe. You can see the Mighty Quinn sheet music, which was a hit for Manfred Mann, of course. There's a section on Bob Dylan and the Beatles. And on this one, there's you can see a notebook and Bob Dylan. The title is John Lennon's Hat. On the next page is something really cool. 2 pages of letters from George Harrison to Bobby, Bobbie. On the right is it says it's the chords to Thingamy-Bob, which is actually a single on Apple Records by I can't remember the name of the band. It wasn't the Beatles. Anyway, I don't want to get it wrong. So anyway, but that's not what it is according to this. It's the chords to "I'd Have You Anytime," and yeah, at the end it says that I glad to hold you in my arms. I have you anytime. Love to all, George. Later on, there's a Paul McCartney sent for Theme Time Radio, where he sent a little note saying how much he enjoyed it. So here's some editing notes from Eat the Document, the not really officially released documentary of the 1966 tour. So this is a song. There's one of the legendary unreleased songs that very few people have heard. I haven't heard it. It's called "I'm Cold" from around 1977. There's a little excerpt of the lyrics. And here is, of course, when Bob Dylan was hospitalized in 1997, we're all worried. I'm sure I got many cards, but the one included here is from John Lee Hooker. So it's dated May 29th, 1997. And there's one more, which I'll be right with you. 252. Here it is. So Anne Margaret Daniel, Anne, wrote about letters from or interviews that Tony Glover did with Bob Dylan. She got them from Mr. Livingston, I presume. And here is a little bit of the typewritten excerpts from that. All right, so that is excerpts from Bob Dylan, Mix Up the Medicine. This postcard came in the book, or that's a postcard, but a card. And so that is that. And just wanted to say, before I go, I just want to address the elephant in the room, which is, but I want to put in context. So when the Concert for Bangladesh triple album came out in early 1972, the list price was $12.98. Now, according to a CPI inflation calculator I found online, that has the same buying power as $97.20 today. So this book, Bob Dylan, Mix Up the Medicine, lists for $100 in the US, $125 in Canada, Canadian dollars. There's a lot of exclusive content here with 30 scholarly essays, and as I said, over 1,000 images. You know, you spent your wasted money on things that aren't worth, you'll never see again, that you just put on your shelf or whatever. This is something that you're going to take off your shelf many times if you even makes it onto your shelf. And it costs a lot less than taking a trip to Tulsa. But hopefully I've given you enough of a taster to consider buying it if you haven't already. And so you can get it from probably the Bob Dylan Center, I assume, your independent bookstore. If they don't have it, I guess you can order it. And you can get it through Amazon through the blog that's part of this, that accompanies this video. And it benefits Carl Eric Anderson and Expecting Rain. And so hope you enjoyed this. Hope you get the book. Hope you enjoy the book. And it's time for my boot heels to be wandering. So take care.